Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Milo Murphy's Law, Episode 7. So yeah, we're here with another episode. There's not really much to say going into this. It's like there's never really much to say, because this is so episodic and basic, you could say, that it's just kind of like, take it as you go. Each episode just kind of does its own thing. Last time we did get some big continuity in terms of connecting this to Phineas and Ferb, which was great, but I don't expect that all the time, and I don't expect a big Phineas and Ferb crossover quite yet. I don't know what we're going to do with this set of episodes. I just have no idea. There's no real way to tell. So we're just going to get into it, not waste any time. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So at the end there, I was looking for Mr. Draco's voice, and apparently he did the main theme song for Phineas and Ferb. Like, he was the main theme song for the entire series. Outside of that, he hasn't done much else. He did some music in one episode of SpongeBob, it looks like, but everything else is mostly just, like, random stuff here and there. Nothing big, in other words. Probably the biggest thing he's done otherwise is... I don't know which one would be considered the biggest. Let me check this one. No, probably not that. I don't know. But either way. So, yeah, this was an interesting set of episodes. Not a whole lot to really discuss here. Mr. Draco or Draco, interesting character, definitely very stereotype vampire type of character, even if he isn't actually. He's really fun. The entire combining of the scholastic and academic, or whatever, the two decathlons was an interesting idea. If completely ridiculous. And the idea that they actually made it up in terms of how prepared they were by the fact that everything went into a different direction was funny. The fact that the playing field literally became uneven, making it figuratively even, I just love that explanation. But then the first episode as well, the entire thing was Zach having been in a boy band. That's interesting character development and backstory and all. And he was good. Like, his singing voice was really good. And the song, while not as much my kind of thing, was still good, all things considered. But yeah, and the girl with the pizza and all, like, I really love her design. I love the theme and everything. And she's really tall. Like, I was thinking about it. Because even if she is, like, again, 5-10 years older than Milo and them, she's still really tall. Like, a teenage guy, high school age, can actually be, like, pretty tall, all things considered. So, she would act, and girls are typically shorter. Hold on. Actually, let me check. I just thought about something. Because they are high school age, right? I'm actually not 100% sure on that. Let me just check to make sure. Okay, yeah, like, the very beginning of high school age. I figured they were in high school. Milo is 13 at least. Let me check Melissa and Zach. Actually, I can just check Veronica's character profile. It actually doesn't say. It actually does not say. All we have is, yeah, just, I guess, general information. Melissa is 13, and Zach is 14. Zach's actually a year older. Okay. But yeah, Veronica, like, again, she definitely looked like their age when she was babysitting Milo. And so I'd say that probably would have had to be 5-10 years prior. Somewhere in that range, though. So even just saying at the lowest 5 years prior, I would say she'd probably have to be like 18 then. But if it's 10 years prior, then she'd be what, like 23, 24? And I think that's definitely a good range to assume for her. But still, even at that range, she would have to still be pretty tall. Because, while definitely not as tall as, like, guys can get in later high school years, still, even at that time, like, that's basically when their growth spurts really start. So it's just like the fact that she was very notably taller. It's just like it was super noticeable. So it just felt like it feels like she's pretty tall, and there's nothing wrong with that. But she's definitely pretty tall in comparison to most cis girls. So yeah. I really like her personality, though. So that's interesting. The other secret, besides Milo, besides Veronica being one of his babysitters, and Zach being in the lumberjack boy band, the other secret of the episode was that Melissa has 2 fake front teeth because she caught a pop fly with her face, which is actually really interesting. I mean, was she playing the game or was she just watching it? Either way, that is interesting that she has fake teeth and everything. It's not like super exciting or anything in terms of character development. It's just interesting. It's a fun fact, basically. But yeah, this episode, both 7A and 7B were good. Nothing to write home about. Definitely not as exciting as like the entire Phineas and Ferb reference last time. But I definitely had no issue with it. I enjoyed it, at least. The entire B plot in the second episode with Milo's parents was kind of unnecessary, I feel, though. It was definitely the weakest part, and it's just like, it just felt out of place. Not completely, like, unenjoyable, just didn't feel like it was needed. It just felt like they threw it in just for the sake of having a B plot, which wasn't needed. I mean, I guess they did it to add some more character and development to Milo's father, but it's like I don't feel like it really did too much, because it's like we already knew that he has the Milo's, or the Murphy's Law affliction as well. So it's like, that's not any big surprise. It's not any big, like, revelation of any kind. The idea that he won a trophy because of the Murphy's Law incident when he was playing soccer, it's like, okay, that it gives some development for his character, but nothing really substantial. It just feels like it was just added in. But I enjoyed everything else otherwise. And I'm still interested to see where the show goes. So it's not like I lost any interest with this set. It's just it wasn't like the most amazing set of episode or most amazing episode, either 7A or 7B. It wasn't bad. It just didn't do anything really that great. It was just kind of okay. It was the bare level of good. But sometimes that's fine. After the last episode where they did make the connection with Phineas and Ferb, having something that's a little more basic this time is fine. But I do want them to really start to ramp it up, because if I'm being honest, I definitely think that they need to. The show is going to start feeling stale if they don't change things up. I would legitimately like to see, as I've said before, an episode where nothing bad happens. Like maybe one day Milo wakes up just obviously expecting everything to go wrong as usual, but not a single bad thing happens. Because they've already said in the past, they actually straight up said in an episode that Murphy's Law is unpredictable and that you never know what's going to happen. That implies that there could be instances where nothing happens. And I think that's something we should explore from a story and a character standpoint. It could even maybe give some really interesting views into Milo as a character through that. Like maybe it hasn't happened to him before. Maybe him going through this through a day with nothing happen actually freaks him out a little bit. And in the end, maybe his father tells him that happens on rare occasions and it helps him work through it. That would be very interesting, would it not? Not only the idea that nothing bad happens, but the fact that Milo actually gets freaked out by it, the fact that Milo is so unexpecting of it, that it actually scares him, like legitimately. I'm not talking like a comical scare either. Like we've seen in like even this episode with getting freaked out by Melissa having the fake teeth. I mean legitimately frightened by the idea that nothing bad has happened, because it's literally his entire life. So for nothing bad to happen, I could see how that would upset things for him. That would be so fascinating of an episode. I just really hope they do something like that. It doesn't have to be exactly that. Just something similar, something in that vein. Because it would just add so much more depth to Milo as a character and to just the series. Which I definitely think, again, it does need. While it is good, it does need something more to actually elevate it. Phineas and Ferb switched up the formula all the time, and they did some really special, unique things all the time. It kept the formula from getting old. And I just feel like, even though, again, I'm only 7 episodes in now, I feel like Milo Murphy's Law does need to do the same. Because honestly, sometimes Phineas and Ferb took too long to get to those special episodes, those special occasions and all. So I would think that the creators would want to do it a little more often, or at least consistently. I don't know. And not wait as long at the beginning to get to it. The big thing that I feel really sells this, though, as of this point still, is definitely the characters. Milo, Zach, and Melissa are 3 very good main characters, and they're really likable, and it's fun to follow their adventures as they have to deal with all of this. The side characters are pretty good as well. There's not really any of them I have any issue with, and they all come off as entertaining and serve their purpose for each episode. So it's like, the characters are definitely the driving force with this, because the idea of it, the entire plot concept of the Murphy's Law thing, at this point, if it weren't for the characters, it would have gotten excessively old. 7 episodes in. But the characters and the way they act and react to everything is what sells it, what makes it good. And so I'm really glad that they're at least continuing, the creators are continuing to showcase that when in comparison to just Phineas and Ferb, because Phineas and Ferb had the same thing going on with it. Again, very repetitive in a lot of ways and a lot of the time with its episodes, but the characters drove it. Phineas, Ferb, Candace, Jeremy, Doofenshmirtz, and Perry the Platypus, they're all so memorable. Vanessa. And so it's like, the characters in this maybe aren't as memorable, at least not yet, but they're definitely showcasing that same likability and just really good writing with the characters. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where they go next, and I am hoping that they start to raise the bar with the series and do some really unique, interesting things with the concept they have. But that being said, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Milo Murphy's Law, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,